When Emma suggested a family trip to the coast, I didn't think much of it. We'd been through a rough winter, emotionally mostly, and she said she needed sunlight and space to breathe. It sounded like a reset, a chance for us to step out of the usual grind and reconnect with the kids. We'd been married for 8 years. I'd been working long hours to keep my small marketing business afloat. She stayed home with our 2 children, Jake, age 7, and Lily, age 4. The place she picked was a little beachside town we used to visit before we had kids, back when the hardest decision we faced was red wine or white. Nostalgia hit hard when we pulled up to the quaint, weather-worn rental with its white shutters and blue trim. Emma smiled at me, but it didn't quite reach her eyes. Day 1 was perfect. The kids squealed with joy as they ran through the surf, and Emma looked radiant in her sun hat and oversized sunglasses. I remember thinking, this is what we needed. That night we grilled seafood on the deck, laughed over burnt marshmallows, and for the first time in months, things felt right. Whole. But by the second day, something shifted. Emma started disappearing for longer periods. She claimed she was going for walks to clear her head, and the kids were content digging moats around their sandcastles while I stayed back with them. I didn't question it at first. Space, right? That's what she said she needed. And I wanted to be the husband who trusted his wife. It wasn't until the 3rd evening that I noticed it. We were at the public beach near the lifeguard tower, a place crowded enough to feel safe but small enough to notice when someone's acting different. I was helping Lily with her sand mermaid sculpture when I looked up and saw Emma talking to one of the lifeguards. Tall guy, bronze skin, tousled sun-streaked hair. He laughed at something she said. She tucked a loose strand of hair behind her ear, something she used to do with me when we were flirting. I watched them for a minute too long. He reached out, casually brushing a speck off her shoulder. She didn't flinch. Later in the car, I asked who he was. "Oh, just someone I bumped into. He helped me with directions to the boardwalk," she said, shrugging too quickly. "He's harmless." But that night, while she showered, her phone buzzed with a message preview. "Had fun talking today. Same time tomorrow?" Smiley face, Zach. Zach. I didn't sleep much after that. The next morning, I offered to take the kids to get donuts in town. Emma said she was going to do yoga on the beach. Her mat wasn't in the trunk when I checked. I dropped off the kids with an old friend who lived nearby and made my way to the beach, staying far enough back that she wouldn't see me. It didn't take long. There she was, down by the rocks near the lifeguard station. And there he was, Zach. They didn't touch. Not at first. But their posture was close, intimate. Her laughter was unguarded, the way she used to sound with me. Then he reached for her hand. She let him. He leaned in. I walked away before I saw the kiss. I didn't need confirmation. I'd already felt it. A pit deep in my gut that no words could justify away. I didn't confront her that night. I played my part. We made dinner together. We tucked the kids in. She asked if I wanted to take a walk on the beach. I said I was tired. She didn't press. When she left for her walk, I sat on the porch, watching the moonlight slide across the sand, wondering what I was supposed to do with the truth now that I had it. But tomorrow I would decide. By the time morning came, I had run through every possible conversation I could have with Emma. I imagined the confrontation going a dozen different ways. Quiet disbelief, yelling, her tearful confessions. But I kept circling back to the same question. Was she really going to tell me? Or was she going to keep lying until the trip ended and we went back to pretending we were okay? I didn't have to wait long to find out. That morning, I told her I was going to take the kids to the small marine discovery center in town. It gave her the opening I knew she wanted. "Maybe I'll stay here and catch up on some reading," she said casually, not even trying hard. Of course, I replied. You've earned it. She smiled, warm, practiced. Thanks, babe. I took the kids, but my mind wasn't on sea turtles or touch pools. I was already 10 steps ahead. By the time we got back, it was almost 1 p.m., and she wasn't at the house. Her phone buzzed on the kitchen counter. I glanced at the screen. Missed call, Zach. She hadn't even tried to hide it anymore. I gave the kids lunch, let them nap in the quiet back room, then walked down the beach, not toward the lifeguard tower, but toward the rocky cove past the dunes. Something about it felt expected. And sure enough, there they were. Emma's back was to me, but I could see Zach's face clearly. He was smiling as he tucked a loose strand of hair behind her ear. That move again. She leaned into his touch. It was almost cinematic, the way the wind whipped through her dress, how their bodies slowly closed the space between them. I don't remember walking down. One moment I was watching from the dunes, the next I was standing a few feet away, and Emma's face had drained of every drop of color. Don't stop on my account, I said, my voice level, almost calm. I wouldn't want to ruin your yoga session. Zach took a step back, raising his hands slightly. Hey, man. Don't. Just don't, I said sharply. You don't know me. And you sure as hell don't know what you've stepped into. Emma's voice cracked. David, please. I turned to her. How long? She looked down, and that silence told me everything. How long? I repeated. Since we got here, she whispered. It was just I didn't plan it. I laughed, but there was no humor in it. Of course you didn't. Planning takes honesty. Zach started to speak again, but I cut him off. This isn't about you, lifeguard. Go make sure someone's not drowning. He hesitated, then walked away. Smart move. Emma stood there, arms folded like she was trying to hold herself together. It didn't mean anything. It just felt good to be wanted again. You've been so distant, so busy. I didn't think you noticed me anymore. Yeah, I said, nodding. I noticed. I noticed the way you stopped looking at me when you laughed. I noticed how every touch started feeling like charity. I noticed how I'd talk about our future, and you'd drift into your phone. I noticed everything, Emma. I just didn't think you'd throw it all away for a beach fling. Tears welled in her eyes. I didn't throw it away. Not until now. I didn't want to hurt you. But you did. She reached out, and I stepped back. Don't, I said again. We walked back separately. That night, we sat in silence on the porch while the kids slept inside, unaware that their world had shifted a few inches off its axis. She tried to speak, but I raised a hand. Not tonight, I said. Just not tonight. I couldn't sleep. I packed while she cried in the bathroom. I left a note on the kitchen counter. We'll talk when we get home. For now, don't speak to me unless it's about the kids. When the sun rose, we drove back in silence. No playlists. No small talk. Just the sound of tires on asphalt and the ache of something broken beyond repair. That trip was supposed to be a reset. Instead, it became a goodbye we didn't say out loud.